welcome to Barrie Public Library's online Comic-Con. We are here today to talk a little bit about cosplay, about why we cosplay and how we cosplay, and how we've taken that not only in our lives, but especially even during COVID. Because things are a little different these days.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So, I'll introduce our panel. I am Liz from the Barrie Public Library, and I have here with me today
Snowhawk Cosplay. Today I'm doing, well, I guess I'm Batman today, so. But I've been involved with the Barrie Public Library Comic-Con since the very first year. Most times you might recognize me as Thor, but this year I decided to be Batman, so I'm glad to be a bit back with this online component. It's not the same, love to see everyone in person, but still glad to be able to talk about cosplay and nerddom and all that kind of stuff.
Definitely. All right, who else have we got with us today?
Hi guys, I'm Heather. You probably normally know me as Wonder Woman. Today I chose a different costume just because I like to mix it up a little. So I'm an elven warrior today. So I've got all my gear ready for battle, got my stuff with me, and I'm going to talk a little bit about cosplaying as Wonder Woman, but also talking about my involvement with Renaissance fairs for about 20 years now, and my family's involvement, and it's just running down the line.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
And last but not least,
Hi, I'm Ryan. I'm from True North Nerds. You may have seen our podcast. You may have seen us at past library cons. Usually I'm there as a Ghostbuster, just like I am today. I'm here to talk about cosplay as a Ghostbuster, and then actually do cosplay from the other side of things, the photography, some of the video, I guess the editing with Photoshop and all that, because we have kind of a background with that from my day job, so.
And also your involvement with podcasting.
Well, yeah, True North Nerds podcast, we record that, and I've done some, stuff like that. It's fun.
yeah,
So,
it's all about embracing our nerddom.
Oh, for sure.
Yes.
Oh. And not hurting yourself in these chairs.
so one of the first questions I want to actually voice to the panel. Oh, wait a minute, we covered all our fandoms. What about Liz? How about you? How did you get into cosplay, and why do you like cosplays?
That's a good question. I was very, very shy as a kid and a teen. Like very shy, painfully shy, and going into crowds and meeting new people was pretty much a no-go, which is why I've never been to the big cons, even to this day. The big crowds make me really nervous. But I found pretty early, I always loved dressing up. I always loved playing characters, even as a small child. Not that all small childs don't love doing that. But anyway, as a teen, especially in high school, I found that sometimes when we have like a spirit day and we have all these superheroes or something, I could go to school as that other character and shed a little bit of that shyness and step into something else. And it really gave me confidence that I hadn't known that I had in myself before. So the chance to be Sailor Moon for a day, for example, I could stop being Liz, who is scared and quiet and in the background, and start being Sailor Moon, who is loud and always cries and saves the day. And it really struck something for me, I think, that kept me going. And then in terms of fandom, oh geez. Well, okay, if you've met me at the library, you probably know I'm kinda into Harry Potter. Really into Harry Potter, but I'm also into superheroes. I love the Ninja Turtles. I love Doctor Who. When this wonderful structure came into the library, I actually cried. I was so excited. So I love losing myself in fantasy, in sci-fi, in other worlds.
Well, sometimes it's also nice to take a break from yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, I can get pretty boring.
Yeah, sometimes when people have asked me like, why do you like cosplay? And it's like, well, sometimes I just want to take a break from myself. Just, be able to go to a Comic-Con or something like that. And also you meet different people as well, but, it's just, when you do Thor, then you're Thor for the day.
Yeah.
Or Batman, as I say, if you could be anyone, be Batman, so.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to take a break from having to do all that adulting, like finding car insurance and paying the mortgage.
Yeah.
And you can just be a Ghostbuster for a day.
I just like not being in reality all the time.
Exactly.
I like playing pretend, even though I'm an adult, I can still do it.
Yeah,
It's
like,
a lot of fun.
who said that you had to stop playing pretend when you grew up? Like, I don't see why we should have to.
Now, when you're a bit younger, well, you're a bit younger than me. So.
Who isn't though?
Oh, yeah. But when you were, okay, so when you said Spirit Day and when you're getting into costume, was it easier to just buy a costume off the shelf? Because when I was, that 10 years old, we didn't have the same level of costumes. There wasn't Spirit Halloween, there wasn't Halloween Alley, there wasn't all the stuff you could buy.
Yeah.
Like Halloween costumes were just a plastic smock with
With a big white picture, with the white space with a picture of the character and a plastic mask.
a plastic mask. Like
Or your mom
like
and dad tried to make it for you,
Yeah.
which worked out sometimes.
Yeah.
1979, I had a Doctor Strange costume, which was a smock with a picture of Doctor Strange flying on it with a Doctor Strange mask.
I
Now,
had
but
the Wonder Woman mask with the eyes cut out and a Wonder Woman t-shirt. That was my costume.
but
It's come a long way.
Yeah.
were you able to find like kids now, you want to cosplay anything, you basically go to a Halloween store and you can get whatever costume you want depending on the dollar.
Pretty much. I would say for me it was more like that, where I could go and buy a costume. As a kid, some of my costumes were bought. My mom also made me costumes, and actually she would sew. She could sew. I can't, but I really hope to learn so that I can start making my own costumes. But I definitely bought a lot of costumes until I was in high school. In high school, I went to boarding school. Really. And so when we had a Spirit Day, it was, whatever you had in your dorm room. So I threw together something to be Sailor Moon. I had a blue skirt, I had a white top, I had some boots. It wasn't perfect, but it was good enough for a high school Spirit Day. And it certainly was good enough for me at the time. And then I was able to kind of expand from that and make some pieces to add to my white shirt and blue skirt to be Sailor Moon, for example, or like this costume I bought, and then I'll usually add my own touches to it, like the shoes or the hair. That's the one thing is I try to pick costumes that will work with my hair because I have a lot of hair.
Yeah.
So may as well make use of it.
Now, Heather, with your Wonder Woman, because you made that one yourself.
My original, I've just recently done an update on my original, only because it's been 20 years since I made my original. And I'm 2 kids in and marriage and everything else. So some things aren't the way they were a long time ago. But I used to actually, I'm a hand sewer. Now I'm learning to use a machine after all these years, but I'm a hand sewer. So when I actually sourced my stuff to make my costume, some of the stuff I bought brand new, some of it I actually got used. I was actually going to school in Toronto, so I hit Queen Street West as much as I could, and there's fabric stores upon fabric stores. So I found for my cape that I had, my original cape, it was an old drape that I found. And then I went to a fabric store and got the red shimmer to go on the inside, and I just did that myself. The corseting at the top with the eagle, hand stitched all freehand, on top of an old corset that I bought from a secondhand store, just to have the shape. So for me, I've always pulled, whether it be for that costume or any other, I like to source out even like Value Village, the Goodwill, all those places, because you can find like amazing things there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and even if it's just, here's my base, now I've got to add this and this to it, and you can totally create your own version of whatever your character is, which I find really exciting, because it can make you a little different too, but still known as whoever Wonder Woman back then, whoever.
Well,
How many
So-
trips have we made to Value Village
Yeah.
and all the other secondhand shops looking for stuff
It's
over
like
the
a
years?
gold mine.
well,
even
like,
for footwear.
when I started in cosplay, like a lot of my pieces were just put together.
Mm.
Now, like I've been 7 years doing this, I've now hit the point where I'll buy the suit,
Yeah.
just because I don't have the time to put the same craftsmanship into something. Also, I don't mind spending a little bit extra money on something quality, like when I look at this Batman suit, what it actually cost me in the end, there's a lot of money I have invested into this suit right now. But I always said, if I'm gonna do Batman, I want to be the best possible Batman I can be.
Yeah.
So I didn't mind spending, you know, dollar amount on this, dollar amount on this, dollar amount on everything else.
Yeah, it's kind of tough to make an actual, rubber cowl for yourself if you don't have access to that kind of
Yeah.
tools and materials. So.
But the great thing is there are people online that you can buy this.
Yeah.
Like, you go to Etsy to buy this.
Yeah.
If even any suit you want to get, you can just Google it real quick. And you can find online retailers. Now, a quick tip, make sure you do your research on the retailers. Because sometimes you
What
gotta
you order
watch
isn't
your money.
necessarily what you get. Yeah.
But the other thing too is cosplay comes at a lot of different levels. Whatever level you want to start at too. Which when I first started, I was perfectly okay with just acquiring pieces. But I wanted to ascend my artwork or my craft to a different level.
Mhm.
And that's where I've actually worked a lot with Ryan over the years, where he's been my photographer to take pictures of stuff, like we'll just do it in the backyard.
Do some test shoots just to see how it would look on film and.
Yeah, but then on top of that, with Photoshop ability, so like my Kylo Ren, you took my Kylo Ren and put me
In a Star Wars background, yeah. Just by taking bits and pieces of other things, like some, there's a picture of it with down hat in it, and I grabbed like an old Mayan temple and put it in the background because it looked like a Sith temple if you put the right lighting on it, and instead of just, then it's fine too. Like you can just grab a scene from the movie and plop them in there, and that would work too.
Yeah.
But we were trying to do something creative and original.
Yeah.
So that's the other side of cosplay too. There's the showing up cons, but there's a lot of people who like the artwork or the craftsmanship of it. So that's where I'm more interested, is the artistic flair. If we're doing a photo shoot, I have a plan on what I want it to look like. So, which a lot of photographers are just as important to the cosplay process as the suit itself. And some people have the same vision, some people are good. It's just a matter of who you can work well with and feel comfortable with. So.
The only thing I can say about cosplay, just for the years that we've all been doing it, sometimes it's just using your imagination.
Yep.
Whether you're a specific character or, like, I'm not a specific character. I've kind of pieced this out from different places and created my own. I'm an elven warrior today, so I've got my bow. Again, not expensive. This is from like Party City.
So is this?
Is
And
it
some
actual wood or is it
things.
plastic?
Yeah, it's wood.
Okay, I was gonna say.
And then some stuff, it's like, these are everyday boots. I just bought it to work with the theme, right?
Yeah.
These pants, these are from maintenance people. Like, I mean, seriously, you can kind of just piece together and then create whatever you want to be.
What
And,
was
and
that?
in fact,
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, at the fairs, now I go to fairs, there used to be a fair out in Milton years and years ago, like I wanna say like 2000, 2001. It closed after so many years because the property was sold to a home builder. Sad to say. But anyways, we started going to the States, so we've been doing fairs in Maryland, Sterling, New York, Michigan is one of our favorite ones, and it's not far.
Yeah.
And we've seen people in full out leather armor, like this kind of leather, as, Darth Vader.
Oh yeah.
Or
no.
some, they've done like the Lord of the Rings characters. If anybody's geeked out on that, it's a huge draw. And they're doing their own spin, but they're doing it in a medieval way. So it's kind of neat. And there's people there from Star Trek.
I was about to
Right?
say,
Like
you
they're
could
traveling
probably
back
show
in
it.
time. So, not saying if you look up any of these fairs and you think, oh, do I really want to dress up? You don't even have to dress up. Go as you are. But I can almost guarantee one visit, you're going to want to wear something of your own next time. So, it's all imagination. Whatever you want to
Well,
put together.
that sort of opens up another avenue for cosplayers as well.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with the Ren Fair, because cosplay can at times be a very isolated community, is the Ren Fair group a little bit more accepting to other fandoms coming in, or levels of craftsmanship?
Since we've been there and we've been just as a couple, and then since we've had our kids, we brought them as well. There's a lot of room for fantasy, There's kids that are going there dressed as like little fairies. They have a dog dress-up day. If you want to put your dog in armor or wings or whatever, you can do that. There's people that, again, you can have a very expensive-looking outfit. You can have one a little more cheaply done, but still looks the part. It's very magical and mystical with a lot of things, and you don't have to have the particular theme. It doesn't have to be exactly this. And they have theme weekends too. So if you want to dress like a Viking, they have a Viking weekend. If you want to do Highland Fling, great, they have a pirate weekend. Like it's kind of a mixture of celebrating all these different things, weekends at a time, I guess.
Yeah.
So
You can be Pirate Batman.
yeah.
Well, it is been in the comic.
It has.
Hey, if
So
Star,
you're
if
not
Star
doing it.
Trek can go there, there's no reason why Batman can't.
Now-
I'll just throw out there that I have seen every episode of Star Trek. Every episode. And I would so do that.
Yeah.
I did find on Etsy somebody who makes latex pieces to stick to your face so you can make yourself a Cardassian or a Bajoran or
Yeah.
whatever you, and I want to do that so bad.
I've seen people there dressed as goblins,
Cool.
like spooky ones, and then there's a guy there. Every year he's just a huge guy. Shrek.
Oh, fun.
Perfect.
He's there
That's
as
perfect.
Shrek. He's green. He's big. He looks like an ogre, and that's who he plays all day. Some people stay in their character, and some people they just go around as they are. And some people are very particular as to what they want to be and how they pull it off.
So one of the other questions I had was, what is, in cosplay, what is one of your future goals or projects? Liz, what would you like to accomplish or do next in cosplay?
The big one is learn to sew.
Yep.
So I would like to learn to sew. I'm going to buy a sewing machine because I have one. It's my grandmother's and it's 700 pounds, and it's just not. I mean, I'll try it, but modern sewing machines are just so easy. You just like push the button and it works.
I just started using a sewing machine actually during the pandemic.
There
I
you
was
go.
just saying to
That's what I
Ryan,
figured.
I said, I'm a hand sewer, I've been sewing since I was about 16, just starting with buttons,
Yeah.
tapering my jeans, doing things like that. This is going way back, people, so some people might not relate. But I started doing that, and then once I got good at that, I thought, okay, I'm gonna get a sewing machine. 2 years ago, my husband bought me a sewing machine, hadn't used it. Then the pandemic hit. Well, if there's no better time to start using a sewing machine to make masks, here's definitely the time to start. So I started, and actually, it's easier than I thought, and I'm wishing I'd started many years ago. Because hand stitching, depending what you're doing, is very meticulous, and if you don't have the time or the patience, it's not gonna work.
Well, when I was like 10, 11, I would hand stitch clothes for my Barbies.
Ooh, there you go.
Like make them out of, I'd like take old socks and cut them up and make generally Spice Girl costumes for my Barbies.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have the Spice Girl Barbies because I was 10 and therefore too old to be into Barbies. So I couldn't ask my parents for the Spice Girl Barbies. Also, I had just asked them for all the Sailor Moon ones. So I made my own Barbie clothes, and that was kind of my first foray into hand stitching, and that's almost, I can do a button, but other than that, I really like to learn to sew, to make my own costumes, and I can see that will be a very expensive hobby.
But it is a skill
doable.
that you can use later on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You can get to the point where you're trying to get stuff for other people, and then your hobby pays off.
that's
Yeah.
true.
So how about you, Ryan? What is your next foray deeper into cosplay?
Okay, so I've got two
Specific.
things I keep saying I'm working on. I have yet to really start working on. One is I want to change the electronics in my pack so that the lights will light on themselves on their own without having to press the button. So it'll just be turn it on and it'll light up and do its thing.
Oh, that's neat.
Plus, I want to replace the wand. Like this pack came from Spirit of Halloween, so it's store bought. I've already kind of customized it by roughing it up. Like you get the little dry brush out, paint and stuff. So you get a little metallic look. Plus, adding the Alice frame rack to where instead of just the little fabric straps that it came with, because this really helps to carry the weight. But
And plus, it's more accurate.
it's exactly more accurate to the movie, which I only went with the flight suit, but you can buy any jumpsuit. And it can be any color because, well, you can always be one of the real Ghostbusters from the cartoon, and theirs are all different colors. But yeah, so my other project I want to work on is, so I had a friend who went down to Disney World pre-pandemic. He went in February, and he went to the new Star Wars Galaxy's Edge.
Ooh.
And I gave him a bunch of money to go there for me because I can't go there, and I got him to buy me the official Sith top shirt that they have, the top part. I already have like a kind of a cape. But it's like a brown one, so it'd be more of a Jedi. But so I wanted to kind of make my own Star Wars costume. Started with that, and then I've got a custom saber that I picked up online. I went on to Wish and bought one of those, just the big squares of fabric that you can like wear as like a hood and or a scarf or do whatever you want with. And so I've got all these pieces for things. Plus I've got some different helmets that I've picked up on over time that I want to customize. And so it's a lot of stuff that I just haven't put together yet. But I want to do a Star Wars costume.
That's exciting.
Star Wars is one of my other big fandoms. So
Well, your other big fandom's Transformers, and I don't think you can turn into a truck.
no, I've tried.
Have you seen those?
I've seen
costumes,
that
though?
at
Yeah.
Fan Expo.
Well,
I did make
I've seen the kid.
those Transformer costume when I went and played in a paintball game. Had some big cardboard shoulders and a plastic like grill and.
The other thing I want to talk about is reflecting back on past BPL Comic Cons, or Public Library Comic Cons. What are some of your favorite moments?
For me, it's seeing the excitement on the kids' faces. That just does it all for me. It doesn't have to be anything else, it's just seeing the kids, seeing them dress up. And if they're not dressed up, just wanting to meet the characters that are around. I find it so exciting. Because I know you know what that exhilaration is like.
Well, the
You
one
never know.
thing I look back on is, well, I was already friends with Liz before the Comic Con, but we're friends with everyone.
Yeah, I've been on you guys.
Which you came as Wonder Woman, and you were amazing with the kids, and you clicked with us immediately and fell right into our group, and that's where, you know, I had some input where it was like, no, I want you back as an official cosplayer of the event because of the way you carried yourself with the fans. Because really, it's a family-friendly event.
Yeah.
We're there to help, you know, it's not making the money or anything like that.
It's just to help people have a good time.
Yeah, we're just trying to promote the library in different events,
And build community,
Yeah.
right?
which,
Yeah.
and from there, like
If we can bring some characters to life with the kids,
Yeah.
that's so much.
well, plus the other friends we've met, like Winston, like Marie, like Catherine, like Alex, like Jack, like we've built a group
Yeah.
out of the Barrie area cosplayers,
Yeah.
and it really all came out of Barrie Public Library Comic Con.
It makes me so proud. This Comic-Con, I mean, it's
Always a great time.
it's a great time, but when we started it, we had no idea what we were doing, and we had no idea what we should offer, and we were just making it up as we went, and we just kind of wanted an excuse to get dressed up and go to work, and to invite other people to come and get dressed up and come to work with us.
Well, and then last year where it morphed into the Game On.
Yeah.
With Creative Barrie, and then that turned into the Ultimate Barrie Cosplayer Award, which Melissa won.
Yes, and that was so.
And Melissa's been with us since day one.
Yeah.
As well. Now, she's also involved in the 501st, but her original characters are amazing as well. So that was a great event last year where we were at the Comic Con during the day, went to the Game On event at night.
Yeah.
And of course, like our panel of judges in the Barrie area, we couldn't think of a better recipient as an Ultimate Cosplayer than Melissa. Because just craftsmanship and dedication and the amount of characters she's got and the work she puts into it.
And I mean, that night she looked amazing. I mean, it was amazing. It was so much, and it was so much fun. And I hope, obviously this year we're cosplay in quarantine, but I really hope that next year we can bring that back to life, because I had never been out in Barrie with other people who like to dress up. I didn't know that there were other people like me until Comic-Con, until I met you, and So being able to then go to that sort of as a work event, but sort of as a social event.
And
I
that,
didn't get to go to the game on part
Yeah.
afterwards. That was really fun. I hope to, if we do it again.
it definitely was interesting to be at an
Yeah.
event
Yeah.
after hours.
Yeah.
And it was interesting being there with a mix of people that were there from the Comic-Con and in costume, and then people that weren't, that were there for the gaming. And then there were some people that were just walking by and saw something happening off the street and decided to come in and play video games.
Well, like the three of us walked down from where we had changed in the creepy van.
No, it's the cosplay
The
van.
cosplay van that is
Thou
now
rest its
deceased,
soul.
the deceased cosplay van. We walked down the street in downtown Barrie to Five Points Theatre where the event was, and people were just
Yeah, seeing Superman and Supergirl walking down the
right,
street.
and it's just like, what is happening? And so then we're shouting at people in cars, people going by, and I'm like, cool, like, it's fun.
It may encourage more people to attend
I
for
think
the next
I
one,
think so.
or even check out the online this year and then hopefully get one
Yeah.
in person.
Well, I think one of the big things we're missing this year is also the costume contest, because the creativity of the kids.
Yeah.
Because, when we're doing the cosplay contest and it turns into a several-hour presentation,
Which it always does.
because just there's so much fun stuff and
And there's so many people.
yeah.
So many people enter, and some of them have bought costumes or made costumes or mix and match, and you've got tiny little kids and you've got grown adults, and it's just,
The best part is you don't have to just dress up for Halloween anymore.
Well, exactly.
You just
It's
have more than once a year.
a great place to test your Halloween costumes
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Or even if you have a new cosplay, because it's a low-key event, it's a
Yeah.
fun event, there's low pressure, like you're just out there having fun.
Yeah.
it's
So,
very
you
simple.
can get a chance to wear it, find out, if I wear it for this many hours, how many seams am I popping?
For sure.
Well, that happens a lot too. I've debuted a few costumes at the event, just because, where you can be at an event where you're close to being able to change real quick if something doesn't work.
Yeah.
When you go to a larger event, say for example Fan Expo, and there's 105,000 people there, or 110,000 people, and you have a costume malfunction, you're done for.
Yeah.
Especially if you don't have access to a hotel.
Yeah.
And then even if you do, the coming back and forth and getting in and out, some days when they reach capacity, you're gonna be then spend more time outside waiting to get back in.
Yeah.
So I think that's where BPL Comic Con has really helped over the years, is it is able to bring the Comic Con experience to Barrie,
Yeah.
where people don't have the opportunity to go to another con. And there has been other cons open up in the Barrie area, but I don't think they have the same feel as
Yeah.
what BPL Comic Con is. I think
For sure.
because it is a more sensitive community.
Yeah, it's a smaller one, it's not, it doesn't have like the big marketplace, so it's not just about coming out and, don't get me wrong, I love going out and buying stuff.
Yeah.
Ed can, it's no hot cosplay can attest to this, my house is full of stuff. But, the Barrie Comic Con, you don't have to worry about that.
It's not so much about the stuff. We do have vendors, and
Yeah.
this year online we also have vendors, so definitely check out our website where you can link to our vendors. But it's not really about buying stuff. It's at the base of it, it's a library program,
Exactly.
right? It's free for everyone, but it is 100% family friendly. And I think that also, when we have talked about bringing people in to be featured cosplayers and choosing who's going to be a featured cosplayer, one thing that makes Heather such a perfect fit for our Comic-Con is, one, she's a regular library user and we know her very well, but she has kids, and so she knows the audience. Whereas some of the cosplayers who come look amazing, but don't necessarily dress for the audience of a whole bunch of 6-year-olds.
Or don't necessarily know how to interact with a whole bunch of 6-year-olds.
Yes, that's a big one too, and we've had that happen where people have actually said, no, I don't want to be a featured cosplayer because they're afraid to interact with 6-year-olds. It's one thing when you're talking to an adult, and there's a
See,
lot.
I find it's fun. Yes, I have kids. I've got 2 kids.
Yeah.
And as much as they know, like we've been doing this. My kid's first Renaissance fair was, my daughter was 8 months old.
Yeah.
So, and my son's, he was just over a year, and they were in dress. I'll have you know.
Of course.
But it's not just the kids. I think it's fun for the kids to see adults dressing up because it gives, it's letting them see a silly side. Because adults, I mean, we have so much to deal with. I mean, all the grown-up stuff that we talk about day in and day out. It's, you know, getting out of reality and being able to imagine, you know, being part of another world. It's kind of neat, and the kids, I think, feed off of that a little bit from us.
Yeah.
You know, which gets them excited.
And just
You
knowing
know,
that
if it's
it's
everybody in
okay
a good
that you're
headspace.
into this stuff. Like, you know, you
Yeah.
don't have to be, you know, just because you're 10 years old doesn't mean that you aren't allowed to have Barbies anymore.
Yeah. Which I will say, I no longer have any Barbies, but only because a mouse got into my Barbie box, and so I threw them away. Like otherwise, they would literally still be in my basement. My Lego is, I'm just saying, and all of my Harry Potter Lego is currently built and displayed on my big counter thing in my living room, much to my mother's
As
chagrin.
it should be.
I still have, for those of you who know Wonder Woman Linda Carter, the show from like the 70s, 80s, I still have my cutout, and I have all seasons. So I
Alright.
keep it going as much as I can.
So speaking about Harry Potter and Wonder Woman, rapid round. What's your number one fandom, Liz?
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter? Heather?
Mine would have to be Wonder Woman. It would have to be Wonder Woman.
Ryan?
Star Wars.
Star Wars.
I will say though that Star Trek is coming up real fast behind that Harry Potter.
Real fast.
Real fast, it's catching up.
So like my number one fandom.
Let me guess. Does it have something to do with either one of the tattoos you have underneath that costume?
Well, my number one fandom is G.I. Joe. Always has been. So it was one of the major toys I started collecting. It wasn't the first toy I ever collected, but it was the one I invested 100% in. And
That's Harry Potter. for
My
me.
husband still has his G.I. Joe collection from when he was a kid.
Tell them to take care
He
of it.
just needs those little elastics to put some of the men together.
those
That's
are
all he
pretty,
needs.
those are pretty easy to find.
Yeah.
So
And some of those toys now, there's a renaissance of people wanting to rebuy their childhood of those toys, so they start to go in price.
Yep.
okay, wrap it around again. What's your number one movie?
Oh jeez.
Number one movie.
Like fandom movie?
Yeah.
Thor. Trying to pick one, but I think we all know which one it's gonna be.
Ragnarok?
Yeah, obviously.
Okay. Heather?
If I went the Star Wars route, I would definitely choose Return of the Jedi.
Oh, yes.
I love that movie. I love Princess Leia. I always had a crush on Luke Skywalker, and my sister always loved Harrison Ford. So we would split there. It's pretty good.
Well, that's
Right.
at least you're not fighting over them.
Ryan, number one movie.
I can't pick a number one.
Gun to your head, you gotta pick a number one movie.
Ghostbusters?
There you go.
Flawless.
Original?
It's a flawless movie.
Yeah.
I
And you
even
know
like the reboot.
Oh,
And
the reboot is great too.
It's great, and I think based on my favorite movie, we could probably guess why I loved it so much. Chris Hemsworth is my boyfriend, you can't have him.
Well said.
If you get a chance to go to the Cineplex and watch one of the classic showings of the original Ghostbusters, it's worth it. Because you'll see so many things on the big screen that you don't notice on the small screen.
Yeah.
Like, we went and saw it, and you can literally read the label on the Mickey that they're drinking of after they make the bank, like the mortgage deal. And when you watch it on TV, you can't tell what it is. But when we went to the theater, and
Beach Brain.
he leaned over and said, "Oh, that's," I was like, "Great."
Yeah.
See, if I was gonna go like a Renaissance kind of theme, with me being Elven, I'd have to say Lord of the Rings. Now, I know that the movies aren't like the books, so we're not gonna get into that, I know that. I've actually never read the books.
Oh, you should.
So I take cues from my husband, who's read The Hobbit since he was a kid, and he's read all the other ones. And then I take his opinions and thoughts on movies. But I like the characters that are in there. I like that, and I like, again, with the kind of theme, Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, Vikings, those types of series. That really plays on
Yeah.
for my family. To the point where we actually, when my husband and I got married, we did a theme wedding.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we did a medieval theme wedding in Barrie.
I'm so jealous.
It can be done. We did our photos at the old Molson Park, that area that which is now Park Place. But anyways, it can be done, and even with our wedding, we put so much thought and effort into having our bridesmaids and the groomsmen all dressed in theme with weaponry and stuff. It was exactly us for that day, and we got exactly what we wanted out of it, and we put a lot into it, so it was rewarding that way too.
So, it's awesome.
Now, geekdom in everyday life. What is the thing, Liz, what is one of the things you have on you almost every day that ties you to your geekdom?
Well, I mean, I have my keys for the library. I have a Gryffindor lanyard. So literally, I'm never without my Gryffindor lanyard, ever. But let's see, I also have, I mean, I'm a librarian, so that
So you're
by
already
itself. I mean, but if you go into my house, you will find a truly astonishing number of books. For example, one whole shelf of just Harry Potter. And I can't be without them. Also the shoes. I have a lot of shoes. So I'm very often wearing my regular clothes and then wearing, say, the ruby slippers, which might be Converse or might be heels or, you know, but yeah.
Heather, how do you celebrate your geekdom every day? What do you usually have with you?
I'll be honest, I don't necessarily wear a piece or bring a piece of geekdom with me, but I find my mind is always looking, I'm always searching for the other ideas for like the next costume. Like my next costume, I hope, I'd like to do a cheetah girl from the new Wonder Woman.
Ooh.
When that comes out. But I'm always looking for kind of the next thing. I'm always like, you know, if I see something in a store or, you know, whether it be a shirt, a skirt, or something, those next pieces, I'd like to get into more of that and doing, I wouldn't mind doing more special effect makeup as well. Like if it was to do cheetah girl, and then it's, I don't know, I'm just always looking for new ideas. So it's not necessarily a thing, it's just my mind's always, it's always there in the back of my mind. If something kind of stands out, then I'll start moving on the next, whatever the next big thing is.
All right, Brian.
I've got a couple stickers in my car windows. On either side in the back window, I've got one side is a BB-8, the other side is a Stormtrooper. My desk at work, I've got a couple Funko Pops, and I've got a Darth Vader, a 6-inch Darth Vader to stand and kind of make sure I'm working. But and then my house is just, it's full of stuff. I've got my Marvel prop collection, I've got my Star Wars action figures and my Marvel action figures, and then just too much stuff.
I have just boxes and boxes of Harry Potter memorabilia, like
Nice.
just so much. And
How many wands do you have?
I have 2 wands purchased from Universal, and then quite a few more that I have made at
Nice.
Comic-Con or Harry Potter's birthday, which we have at the library every summer, or other times. So, yeah.
It's one like fandom prop thing that I don't have that I keep wanting to find someday is give myself a wand.
That's awesome. Yeah, for me, like my bedroom, right at the foot of my bed, is my Linda Carter picture. It's right there. So every night I go to bed seeing Linda Carter.
Well, of course, and then in our workroom here at the library, I have my large framed picture of Thor. He watches over us at all times.
Thor, your trust.
Yes, exactly. Because he's so pretty.
He's so pretty.
Well, I think we've had some pretty good discussion today on cosplay and actually just general geekdom. I hope everyone enjoyed watching our panel today. I think the takeaway I have from this would be, when it comes down to cosplay or geekdom, just do whatever you like, do whatever you love.
And you're never too old to do it.
Yeah.
Just have fun with it.
Really live
Yeah.
your passion. Like if you're really passionate about a character or a fandom or a genre or whatever, do it. Just do it.
Yeah.
And you know, right now during COVID, we're a little bit, stuck in our houses. We can't go to cons. I was planning to go to Fan Expo this year. It was going to be my debut. I was going to build up the courage and go, and of course, there's a pandemic. But that's okay. This too shall pass.
Plan
For next year, and that gives me a whole year to think of my new costume.
Yeah, that's true.
And the great thing is there's any jumping on point, whether you want to build a costume out of your closet, buy a costume at a Halloween store, build something from scratch,
Yeah.
whether you're using leather or craft foam or whatever you can find at your local stores. Whether you're thrifting, whether you're going to, not to drop names, but like Michael's or Lens Mill or something like that.
Yeah.
So basically, have fun doing it and come up with a great costume, and we'll see you next year live at BPL Comic Con 2021. All right.
Bye
Thanks,
guys.
Bye, thanks.
Bye guys.